turned charming mobster, whom the government can't convict.
He's just a good man. He's a good family man.
A man who throws lavish 4th of July neighborhood block parties and donates to local charities.
You don't think he belongs in jail? No way.
He's loved around here. He's like a hero of Howard Beach.
Gotti's ability to deflect criminal charges earns him a new nickname in the press, that of the Teflon Don. The nickname ups the ante for FBI investigators, such as Supervisor Bruce Mao. He has led the Bureau's Gambino investigative squad since 1980.
Because of his publicity, his notoriety, there's a lot of pressure on us to get John Gotti, to put him in jail.
Some in the Bureau blame the media's breathless coverage of Gotti for making their job more difficult. How does the media spotlight on Gotti hurt the FBI's investigation? After watching Gotti beat 2 separate cases, Mao orders Special Agent George Gabriel to launch a fresh Gotti investigation. They decide to try something no other agency has been able to do: catch Gotti clearly discussing his crimes on tape.
For a boss, his crimes really are his discussions. He's not going to be on the street again pulling the trigger. He's going to be giving orders to others to go do that for him.
January 1988. Gotti has moved his headquarters from the Bergen Hunt and Fish Club in Queens to the Ravenite Social Club in Manhattan's Little Italy neighborhood. It is here that he was spotted meeting with Gambino family members after the murder of Paul Castellano. The congested neighborhood gives the FBI an opportunity. They can watch over Gotti's headquarters without being seen. The FBI investigation heats up, and the answers to our questions when the final report continues. February 1988. John Gotti is riding high. He's the boss of the Gambino crime family, taking over after the assassination of Paul Castellano. And he's just beaten not 1, but 2 indictments on criminal charges.
Do you think the government's going to frame you?
You guys in Giuliani should be in church.
Now the FBI is determined to get the Teflon Don by gathering enough evidence to put him away for life. Under the direction of FBI Supervisor Bruce Mao, a video surveillance team goes to work. They'll be monitoring Gotti's new Manhattan headquarters, the Ravenite Social Club, from an apartment 2 blocks away.
But had a direct line of sight down Mulberry Street, over the trees, over the lights, right to the front door of the club. And so we could see anybody coming and going.
Gotti begins holding regular meetings at the Ravenite.
It was a great break for us. He had these people coming any number of nights, 5 nights a week, and that really was contradictory to what the mob did before that. They understood meetings only helped the feds. The fewer meetings you had, the less chance you had of being caught.
Considering the likelihood of drawing FBI attention, why does Gotti start holding these regular meetings?
You'd see 2 and 3 wise guys walking out of the club, having a brief conversation, and then going right back inside again.
The FBI is building a list of Gambino family members. Frank Locascio, also known as Frankie Loke, and Salvatore Gravano, a.k.a. Sammy the Bull. Though the surveillance tapes, recorded from 2 blocks away, show mobsters having conversations, they contain no audio. Can these silent tapes help build a case against Gotti? February 26, 1988. In the middle of the night, 2 FBI agents break into the Ravenite Social Club by picking the lock on a door. Once inside, they plant an audio bugging device in the back room, above this table. They hope to finally capture incriminating conversations on tape. But when the agents listen in, they can barely make out the conversation between Gotti and his men.
There were too many people in too small a room. It was like the Tower of Babel, too many voices, and you really couldn't hear what they were saying.
The agents return to reposition the bug and add a noise filter. But a new dilemma arises. June 1988. Gambino soldiers passing time at Gotti's former headquarters in Queens discover a bug left over from a prior New York State task force investigation. The FBI soon notices a change in Gotti's routine at his new headquarters, the Ravenite. They can still see him coming and going and can catch some conversations. But every so often, Gotti's voice disappears.
It became apparent he was going someplace else within that building where we couldn't see, obviously, to have some conversations.
Where is Gotti going to hold these conversations? January 23rd, 1989. For the third time since Castellano's murder, Gotti is indicted, this time by the state of New York. He's accused of ordering an attack on a carpenters union boss named John O'Connor. FBI investigators are still building their own federal case against Gotti. Agents don't think much of the state's main evidence, a set of 3-year-old audio tapes from Gotti's former headquarters in Queens.
We had those tapes, and the tapes were very difficult to hear, and we didn't think they were really going to be able to ultimately deliver what the state needed to convict John.
At trial, the DA plays one recording in which Gotti can be heard telling an associate O'Connor's name and address.
John O'Connor. John O'Connor, 608. At 16-something Broadway.
But in another recording, Gotti's words are more difficult to discern. The state argues that Gotti is saying, quote, "We're gonna bust him up," meaning he's going after O'Connor. Defense attorney Bruce Cutler insists the tapes are largely inaudible. He accuses investigators of creating their own interpretation just to make a case against Gotti.
You say you heard that on the tape, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what was in Mr. Gotti's mind when he said that?
Yes, sir.
You read his mind?
I think it's fairly obvious.
Do you know what's in his mind now, Investigator Wright?
No, sir, I
Take
do
a look
not.
at him and tell me what he's thinking about.
I wish I knew.
The defense also has a powerful witness, the alleged victim himself, union boss John O'Connor. He takes the stand and insists he has no idea who attacked him. February 9th, 1990. The verdict is broadcast live on TV.
Do you find the defendant, John Gotti, guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
For the third time in 4 years, Gotti beats the rap and goes free. He returns to the Ravenite, where he is mobbed by fans and reporters. Once again, the press portrays him as a celebrity mobster whose guile and charisma put him above the reach of the law. That week, Daily News reporter Jerry Capisi interviews the head of the FBI's organized crime unit, Jules Bonavolanta.
He said John Gotti knows that he hasn't been prosecuted yet by the full force of the FBI. When that happens, he won't be acquitted and he'll go down for the count.
Why is the FBI so confident? December 11th, 1990. 10 months after the latest not guilty verdict, FBI agents and New York police detectives raid the Ravenite. They arrest Gotti and his top lieutenants, Frankie Loke Lucasio, and Sammy the Bull Gravano. The men face racketeering charges that include allegations of murder. Special Agent George Gabriel is assigned to transport the Teflon Don to the FBI's Manhattan office. As they drive through Little Italy, Gotti brags that he'll beat this case too.
I said, well, that's been your luck in the past, but I don't necessarily think it's going to hold true. I'll bet you anything. I said, I'll tell you what, how about we bet loser leaves town? You don't have to pack, because where you're going, you're not going to need any clothes.
The answers to our questions and Gotti's showdown with the FBI are next on The Final Report. January 21st, 1992. Brooklyn, New York. After walking away clean from 3 successive trials, Mafia kingpin John Gotti is back in court for what is called the gangster case of the century. Gotti and his 2 top lieutenants, Frank Lucasio and Sammy Gravano, now face a wide variety of federal charges. Among them is the assassination of previous Gambino crime boss, Paul Castellano. February 17th, 1992. At trial, Assistant U.S. Attorney John Gleason presents the jury with excerpts from 6 hours of Gotti's most secret conversations. On one recording, Despite background music, Gotti can be heard talking about the secret criminal organization